What Ferrari discovered in their simulator could rewrite Lewis Hamilton's entire season. And I'm not talking about a simple setup tweak or driver error. We're talking about a fundamental system failure that's been sabotaging one of the greatest drivers in phone history for 14 races straight. The truth that's finally surfaced isn't just shocking, it's about to change everything. This is the story of how Ferrari's most advanced technology became Hamilton's biggest enemy, and why what they've just uncovered might be the key to salvaging a championship dream that seemed dead on arrival. Let's go back to where this nightmare began. When Hamilton signed with Ferrari, the phone world expected fireworks, podiums, maybe even a title fight. Fast forward 14 races and we're looking at 0 podiums, not one. But here's what makes this truly baffling. Hamilton hasn't been coasting. Source from within Maranello reveal he's logged more simulator hours than any other Ferrari driver this season. Extra sessions after every Grand Prix, showing up early, staying late. The man who mastered car development at Mercedes for over a decade, who has an encyclopedic feel for tire behavior and aerodynamic sensitivity, has been grinding like a rookie trying to prove himself. And that's where the first crack appeared. Because despite all those hours, despite Hamilton's legendary feedback precision, something wasn't clicking. The setups that looked promising in simulation were falling apart the moment he hit the track. Braking markers shifting, corner rotation becoming inconsistent, balance completely unpredictable. What looked like adaptation struggles on the outside was actually something far more sinister happening behind closed doors. But the simulator problems were just the beginning, because what Ferrari's engineers discovered about their braking system is about to blow your mind. And trust me, when you hear this, Hamilton's entire season suddenly makes perfect sense. Here's what Ferrari finally uncovered, and it's genuinely shocking. Their simulator architecture, the most advanced training tool in modern F1, wasn't designed to support Hamilton's style of feedback. Not because they didn't want to, but because the system had evolved over years around Charles Leclerc's preferences and legacy software that simply couldn't adapt. When Hamilton requested precise iterations, front end, pitch sensitivity, weight transfer tolerances, brake phase modeling under variable weather loads, the system couldn't replicate what he needed in real time. It's like asking a master painter to create a masterpiece with only 3 colors. But here's where it gets truly explosive. The simulator wasn't the only problem. Ferrari's 22.5 SF25 introduced a revised Brembo braking layout designed to optimize cooling and rear stability. Sounds good, right? Wrong. In doing so, they fundamentally changed how the car responded under deceleration. The bite point became sharper. The feedback turned more digital on or off compared to the progressive, layered response Hamilton had mastered at Mercedes. And for a driver who uses braking not just to slow the car, but to rotate it, to manipulate weight transfer, to manage tire temperatures through corners, this was like having his most powerful weapon taken away. Engineers close to the team now admit Hamilton's been chasing that braking feel all season, rebuilding confidence with every session, only to lose it again when ambient conditions shifted. The brake problem doesn't scream, it whispers. It shows up as unexplained rear instability, slightly longer stopping distances, unpredictable balance during corner entry. And that's when Fred Vasseur made comments that changed everything. On the surface, they might have sounded like criticism of Hamilton, but read between the lines and you'll see this was actually a coded message that confirms something massive is happening at Ferrari. Vasseur's recent statements weren't just acknowledgement of Hamilton's frustration, they were public confirmation that these tiny differences, the ones fans and pundits dismiss as excuses, are real, quantifiable, and they're costing Ferrari results. But here's what makes this truly explosive. For the first time, we're seeing cracks between the culture Hamilton came from and the one he's entered. At Mercedes, problems like this would be identified, dissected, and corrected in weeks. The entire team operates like an engineering think tank, methodical, data-driven, obsessively controlled. At Ferrari, the heart rules just as much as the head. Passion bleeds into every decision, and when pressure mounts, that emotional volatility spills over. Every post-race interview becomes political. Every radio message becomes a statement. Every weekend becomes a referendum on Hamilton's legacy. Ferrari's discoveries offer Hamilton something crucial: clarity. The simulator, broken, at least for his specific needs. The brake feel, fundamentally mismatched. The adaptation curve, far steeper than anyone expected. It doesn't excuse everything, but it explains it. It turns confusion into cause. And for a driver like Hamilton who builds his greatness on field, data, and process, that clarity is everything. Now comes the real challenge. Fixing the simulator isn't about flipping a switch. It requires reprogramming core systems, retraining models, maybe even redesigning components. Fixing the brake modulation might mean developing an entirely new master cylinder, adjusting pedal mapping, recalibrating thermal behavior, all under the constraints of a brutal cost cap while still developing the 2026 car. In the meantime, Hamilton has to keep racing, keep showing up, keep trusting a process that until now hasn't worked in his favor. And that's perhaps the most difficult task of all. When you've won 103 races and 7 world titles, it's hard to accept that progress might come in tenths, in hundredths, in invisible margins only the stopwatch can see. But that's exactly what Ferrari's found. A problem invisible from the outside, crippling from the inside. The question now is whether Ferrari will act fast enough. Will they give Hamilton the tools he needs? Can Hamilton silence the chaos, the headlines, the ghosts of champions past, and finally prove this move was worth it? Because if he can turn this around, if he can take everything Ferrari's discovered and transform it into performance, the story changes completely. Suddenly, the narrative isn't failure, it's redemption. Not a superstar in decline, but a legend reborn in red. Ferrari's shocking discovery stunned Hamilton. But it's also given him something invaluable, a new starting point, a new target, a chance to rewrite the ending of a season many had already written off. The drama is far from over. In fact, it might just be beginning. What do you think Ferrari should prioritize, fixing the simulator first or addressing the braking system? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more phone insights that go deeper than the headlines.